All right, so you're thinking about adding UNH to your portfolio.
UnitedHealth Group.
Yeah, UnitedHealth Group.
Smart move.
Yeah, it's a pretty big player in healthcare and insurance.
Huge.
So we're gonna take a deep dive and figure out if it's a good fit for your investment goals.
That's right. We'll be taking a look at their financials, their market share, their innovation pipeline. We're going to give you the full picture.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
First off, we got to acknowledge the sheer size of this company.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Massive.
This is not your average company.
Yeah.
We're talking about the 16th most valuable company in the entire world.
Globally.
Globally, yeah.
Wow.
Over $561.55 billion.
That's according to company's market cap.
That is according to company's market cap.
It's huge.
Yeah. So that size, often indicates stability, but it also makes you wonder how much more can they really grow?
Right. Exactly how much bigger can they get?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
So to help figure that out, let's look at their financials. Their revenue for 2023 was a mind-blowing $371.6 billion with a B.
Wow.
Operating income is climbing. Cash flow looks really good on the surface. It's pretty impressive.
It is impressive, but we need to dig a little deeper. For example, back in 2021, over half of their net income came from Medicare Advantage.
Okay.
And there were some controversies about how those profits were actually generated.
Okay.
Basically, they were adding diagnoses to patients' records that were never actually treated by a doctor.
So they were billing for services that never happened.
Potentially, yeah.
Wow, that's a pretty serious accusation.
It is, and it raises some serious questions about their practices.
Is that something that's common in the industry, or is this like a red flag specific to UNH?
Well, it definitely raised eyebrows and triggered some investigations.
I bet.
And, it brings up a really important point for investors to consider. Is this kind of practice sustainable? Can it come back to bite them later on?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And speaking of potential risks, let's talk about their recent acquisitions. They bought LHG Group, which is focused on home health care.
Huge move.
Yeah, that seems like a really strategic move considering, people wanting to age in place and the whole shift in the healthcare landscape.
Absolutely. The home health services market is booming. It makes sense they'd want to be a part of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But they didn't stop there.
No, they did not.
They also acquired Change Healthcare.
The biggest health payments platform in the U.S.
Yeah, and that one was a little more controversial, right?
It was a lot more controversial, actually. It raised some antitrust concerns from the Justice Department.
Right, and if I remember correctly, that acquisition also led to a pretty massive ransomware attack back in 2024.
That's right. Their cybersecurity defenses were breached, and it caused major disruption.
Yeah, delays in reimbursements.
Yeah.
Potential exposure of sensitive data. It was not good.
It was a mess, and it really highlights the risks associated with these large-scale acquisitions.
Yeah, you got the growth potential on the one hand, but then a whole bunch of vulnerabilities that need to be addressed. Okay, so we've got this company with incredible size financial power, but also some potential risks.
Right.
So to understand their business model better, let's break down their two main branches.
Yeah.
Optum
Yep.
and UnitedHealthcare.
So most people are familiar with UnitedHealthcare. It's the insurance side of the business.
Right. Provides a wide range of health benefit plans for individuals, employers, government programs.
Medicare, Medicaid, all that.
Yeah, so that's UnitedHealthcare. And then there's Optum, which is where things get a little bit more innovative.
Yeah, Optum is interesting.
Yeah, from what I've read, they're involved in healthcare services, and they're using data in some pretty fascinating ways.
You're right on track. Optum has 3 key businesses: pharmacy benefit management, healthcare delivery, and data analytics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So in this age of information, Optum is really harnessing the power of data to transform healthcare.
So using data to predict which patients are most at risk for certain diseases.
Exactly. Or using data to personalize treatment plans.
Wow.
That's the kind of innovation they're pursuing.
That's huge.
Yeah.
They're basically at the forefront of using data to improve healthcare, which has massive potential.
Absolutely massive potential.
So that's definitely something to keep in mind as we weigh the pros and cons of investing in UNH.
For sure.
All right, so let's get to the heart of the matter. Would you say UNH is a good fit for someone's portfolio?
Well, there's no easy answer to that question. It depends on your individual investment goals, risk tolerance, what you're looking for in a company.
Right.
There are definitely some compelling pros.
Yeah, like what?
Well, they're the market leader. They have diverse revenue streams from both insurance and services. And as we just discussed, they have a strong potential for innovation, especially with Optum.
Okay.
But
There's always a but.
there is, and it's a pretty big but.
Oh,
We have to talk about those ethical concerns again.
right.
The Medicare Advantage issue back in 2021.
Yeah.
That wasn't an isolated incident.
Really?
They've been hit with lawsuits and fines over alleged underpayment of physicians influencing research for their own financial gain,
Oh, wow.
and various other compliance violations.
So these aren't just like small little hiccups.
Not really. And then there's that massive cyber attack that exposed their vulnerabilities.
Right.
All of these issues raise serious questions about their commitment to ethical practices and their ability to manage risk effectively.
Okay, so that's a lot to consider.
It is.
And I know you mentioned political and regulatory risks earlier, so how might those affect UNH?
Well, the healthcare industry is heavily regulated, so any changes to those regulations could significantly impact their business.
In what way?
Well, think about potential shifts in healthcare policy, drug pricing regulations, even antitrust actions.
Right.
And with the political climate being what it is, those risks are definitely something investors need to factor into their decision.
So it sounds like investing in UNH is a bit of a gamble, high potential rewards, but also some pretty significant risks.
That's a fair assessment.
Okay, so what about their valuation? UNH stock has done really well in the past year.
It has.
But how much of that is hype versus actual value?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Past performance is not a guarantee of future results.
Right, of course.
So we need to be cautious and not get caught up in short-term trends.
Okay, so to truly assess their valuation, we have to dig deeper.
We do.
Deeper into what should investors be focusing on?
Well, there are a few key things.
Okay.
First, can UNH maintain their current momentum? Can they continue to grow their revenue and earnings at a rate that justifies their current stock price?
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Second, how will their recent acquisitions play out? Will they deliver the synergies and growth they're hoping for?
Okay.
And third, can Optum live up to its potential? Will their investments in data analytics and innovation truly transform healthcare and drive future profits?
Right. Those are some big questions.
They are big questions, and investors need to grapple with them when evaluating UNH.
So basically, we need to look beyond the current hype and assess their long-term growth prospects, taking into account all the potential risks and challenges they face.
Exactly. It's not always easy to do,
I imagine not.
but it's essential if you want to make a sound investment decision.
Well, you've definitely given us a lot to think about.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about their dividend policy and their approach to share buybacks.
Okay.
These are things investors often look at when they're considering, long-term investment.
You're right. Let's start with the dividend. UNH does pay a dividend,
Okay.
which can be appealing to income-seeking investors.
Right.
But it's worth noting that their dividend yield isn't particularly high,
Okay.
especially compared to other companies in the healthcare sector.
So not necessarily a standout for dividend income.
Right.
What about share buybacks? Have they been repurchasing their own stock?
They have been buying back shares, which can boost earnings per share
Right.
and make the stock seem more valuable in the short term.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that share buybacks don't always create real value for the company.
Especially in the long run.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's easy to get caught up in those short-term moves and lose sight of the bigger picture. And speaking of the bigger picture, we can't ignore the growing importance of ESG factors.
ESG, environmental social governance.
Yeah, exactly. How does UNH measure up in that regard?
That's a crucial question, especially given the ethical concerns we've already discussed.
Right.
ESG factors are becoming increasingly important to investors who want to align their portfolios with their values.
For sure.
And for a company like UNH, with its history of controversies and that recent cyber attack, ESG factors are going to play a significant role in a lot of investors' decisions.
Yeah, so if someone's really focused on ESG investing, UNH might not be the best fit.
It's not that simple. There's a lot of nuance here.
Okay.
On the one hand, they've faced criticisms for their environmental impact, their political lobbying, and those ethical issues around billing practices.
Right.
But on the other hand, they've also made some positive strides in areas like diversity and inclusion.
Okay.
And they're investing in initiatives to improve healthcare access and affordability.
So it sounds like they're trying to balance profit with purpose,
I think so.
but they've got some work to do
Yeah, definitely.
on the ESG front.
Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to circle back to their services business,
Okay.
particularly Optum. We talked about their use of data, their innovative use of data.
Right.
But what kind of economic impact are they having on the healthcare industry as a whole?
That's a great question. Optum's a major force in healthcare.
Yeah.
and their impact is multifaceted.
Okay.
Their pharmacy benefit management business negotiates drug prices for millions of people,
Okay.
which can help lower costs.
Right.
Their healthcare delivery services are expanding access to care, especially in underserved communities.
That's good.
And their data analytics capabilities have the potential to improve efficiency and outcomes across the entire healthcare system.
So they're really playing a big role in shaping the future of healthcare,
They are.
but not without, some controversy and potential downsides.
Right.
It seems like the decision of whether or not to invest in UNH really comes down to, a personal assessment of the strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly. You have to weigh the potential rewards against the risks and decide if their long-term vision aligns with your investment goals and values.
And values.
There's no right or wrong answer here.
Well, you've definitely given us a lot to think about today.
I hope so.
We explored their financial performance, their market dominance,
Their innovation pipeline.
even their forays into the world of data analytics.
That's right.
We also talked about the potential risks,
The ethical concerns.
the cybersecurity
The
vulnerabilities.
political and regulatory uncertainties.
Yeah, what would you say is like the one key takeaway for our listener today?
I think the key takeaway is that UnitedHealth Group is a complex company,
For sure.
powerful company with a significant impact on the healthcare landscape.
Yeah.
They have the potential to be a leader in the transformation of healthcare, but they also face a number of challenges.
That could derail their progress.
Exactly.
So it's a classic tale of opportunity and risk.
Precisely. And it's up to each investor to decide whether they believe in UNH's ability to navigate those challenges successfully.
All right, so we want to hear from you, our listeners.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on UNH after this deep dive?
Do you see them as a potential addition to your portfolio?
Or are the risks too great for your liking?
Head over to our YouTube channel and leave a comment below.
Yeah, and while you're there, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future deep dives.
We're always exploring fascinating companies and industries.
And we want you to be a part of the conversation.
We're also open to suggestions.
Yeah.
Let us know what companies or topics you'd like us to cover.
In upcoming episodes.
Your input helps us shape the show.
And ensures we're delivering content that's relevant and insightful.
For you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of UnitedHealth Group.
Absolutely.
We hope you found it informative and engaging.
Until next time.
Happy investing. Yeah, it's really fascinating to see how a company like this operates.
At such a massive scale.
Yeah, influencing the entire healthcare landscape. I'm sure there are tons of moving parts, complexities that we haven't even touched on today.
Oh, absolutely. We just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
But hopefully this deep dive has given you a good foundation for understanding their business, their strengths, weaknesses, and the key factors to consider if you're thinking about investing.
It's definitely been an eye-opener for me, and I think one of the most important things we've highlighted today is that there's no one-size-fits-all answer when it comes to investing,
Absolutely.
right? What might be a great investment for one person could be a terrible choice for another.
Right. It all depends on your individual circumstances, your risk tolerance, your investment goals, even your personal values.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to do your due diligence
Absolutely.
before making any investment decisions.
Research the company, understand the financials, assess the risks.
Yeah, don't just jump on the bandwagon because the stock is trending or
Right.
someone told you it's a sure thing.
Exactly.
Take the time to really understand what you're getting into.
And don't be afraid to ask questions. Seek out different perspectives.
Yeah.
Challenge your own assumptions.
Okay, so on that note, we would love to hear from you, our listener.
Yes. What stood out to you the most during this deep dive?
What are your key takeaways?
What questions do you still have?
What additional information would you need to make an informed decision about investing in UNH?
We want this to be an interactive experience.
Yeah.
So head over to our YouTube channel
And share your thoughts.
in the comment section below.
We read every comment and we value your insights.
And while you're there, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our future deep dives.
Yeah, we're always exploring new companies, industries, and trends.
And we'd love for you to join us on that journey.
Thanks for tuning in.
And happy investing.